Yeah, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Hotep History Live. I am your host, President Hotep Dudes, representing Hotep Nation. Hope you guys have had a wonderful week. I have. I hope you guys have learned something this week. I have. I hope you guys understand that respectability politics are not real. Ladies and gentlemen, and we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. I am getting so much better at this streaming stuff. I'm letting y'all know this right now. I'm hitting my stride, chat. I'm hitting my stride. I'm extremely excited about the progress that I've been making as a streamer. See, the thing is, when you viewing the streams and all that other stuff, it's just consumer, man. You just consuming it, just enjoying it. You know, if it's good, you're great. If it's bad, it's whatever. But when you're the one actually going live, when you're the one actually talking for 2, 3, 4 hours on the stream and all that other stuff, there's so much that goes into this stuff. So much that goes into the content creation. Now listen, I'm gonna tell you this right here. I'm up for it. I'm up for the work. You dig? I love this. I love doing this. I love being able to talk to you guys. I love being able to espouse my ideals and my values and all of that other stuff like that. I love doing that. I'm not gonna hold you. I really do love talking. See, I think that's gonna be one of the main characteristics of a person that makes a good streamer, makes a good content creator overall. You gotta be a talkative person. When you're not a man of many words or a woman of many words, you're gonna struggle a little bit. Luckily for me, I'm a yapper. Luckily for me, I run my mouth for real. Pause. Like I really do. I have so much to say. I've been having conversations this week where the people I've been talking to been having to stop me in the middle of my rants, my explanations. They be like, "Hold on, wait." I asked you one question, and now you on your third, fourth, and fifth and sixth point. Hold on. So they be having to like reel me back in and all of that, man. So please believe, son, you gotta be a yapper. If you're not gonna be a yapper, I don't know, man. That's that. I'm telling y'all right now, and especially if you were somebody like me who talks that controversial shit. I like to be controversial. I'm a controversial man. And I'm proud of that. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I've been walking the unbeaten path for real. And you know what? The irony in that is not even unbeaten for real. The ancestors laid it out. They put asphalt on top of it. They put the divider lanes, like the paint and all of that. They've made it pristine. It's just that nobody drives down these roads anymore. Nobody walks down these roads anymore, man. They wanna go over there. They made a left at the fork. I made the right. You feel me? Hove said, I drove by the fork in the road and went straight. I think that's understandable. I get it. So come on into the chat, say what's up, say hello, talk to me. This is gonna be a short one tonight because I'm not about to belabor the point. Because I really do just have this one point. I truly am just aggravated a little bit when it comes to the whole thing of respectability politics. I've been seeing it for years. I've been talking, about it for a little while now. I don't like it. I don't like the connotation. I don't like what it denotes. I don't like what it implies when you guys are evoking this term. There's never been a time that I've seen one of you new blacks, one of you new Negroes, tell me about respectability politics and it's anything other than just being a decent human being. And I don't like that. I don't like what it implies. It implies that black people are inherently indecent. It implies that black people are inherently uncivil. It implies that polite society, black Americans run in the face of polite society. You feel me? The new blacks, absolutely the new blacks. We don't deal with the new blacks. These new Negroes, we don't like these new Negroes whatsoever. They do too much. They do too much and not at all at the same time. One of the tweets that I seen years ago is that they're offended by everything and ashamed of nothing. And I think that perfectly encapsulates these people. They are offended by every little thing. If you hold them to any type of standard, if you expect anything out of them other than what they're willing to give or whatever, then they're gonna call you all types of names. And to be totally honest with y'all, the concept of the new Negro was actually created in like the early 20th century. The new Negro was something that they were proud to be called because we're not the ancestors. You know, all of that bullshit they be saying is like we're not our ancestors. That started in the 1920s when, you know, they looked at the ancestors because, you know, their direct ancestors were like former slaves for real, for real. Like a lot of their grannies and great grannies was fresh off the plantation. You dig? Like, so they had this view of the ancestors as being docile, subservient, second class citizens who didn't know any better. That was their way they looked at it. It was like, oh well, they, you know, they dabbled in all of these different things to placate to the white man and all this other stuff. They take all of the autonomy and agency away from the ancestors. And that wasn't everybody in the 20s, but the new Negro movement, you feel me, was started in the 1920s by, come on, say it with me, by the commies. By the commies. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Nikki. Shout out to Sammy coming through. What's good? What's good? What's good? Come on in. Make sure y'all retweeting. Okay? Make sure y'all retweeting. So, I recently acquired a brand consultant, chat. Okay? Best in the business. Best in the business. Been giving me a lot of tips, a lot of tricks, you know, on how to boost the page, boost the brand. You dig? Been having great business conversations. Happy to have them on the team. So Sammy and everybody else in the chat, everybody's sitting and haven't commented yet. Make sure you retweet it. Come on, let's go. Hold on, let's go to the page. Let me show y'all how to do it. I'm gonna walk y'all through it because apparently, according to my brand consultant, I have to be able to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So this is the tweet right here. You hit this little recycle button right here, and it'll be reposted and be retweeted onto your timeline. You can like it too. Go ahead and put, you know, click the heart and all of that. You know, put it out there. Put it out there, and make sure that everybody that you know is tapping into the stream. It's very important that you guys get these historical these lessons, man. For real. So once again, welcome to another episode of Hotep History Live. We on what, episode 25? Episode 25. We making our way. I'm liking this time. I may move it up to 8 o'clock just because I like, you know, the 8 o'clock as opposed to the 8:30. I give myself that extra 30 minutes just to prepare and stuff like that, but I should be relatively ready. Like I was ready at 8 o'clock, honestly. I was ready at 8 o'clock, but I was still working, still doing my thing. So I keep it going. So we're gonna do it 8 o'clock. So this is, you're gonna hold me to it. We doing Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Don't meet me there, beat me there. You feel me? Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. That is when we going. Shout out to all of the other Hotep streamers, Hotep content creators, my brother Hotep Jesus, my brother Canon Hotep, Uncle Hotep, Hotep Goldstein. You feel me? We deep, man. We super deep, and I appreciate all of the Hotep content creators, man. They inspire me, they motivate me to keep it going. I think we got a good thing going. All right? Shout out to Hotep Con, September 12th to the 14th. Make sure you get your tickets. Come on through. It's gonna be in Savannah, Georgia. It's gonna be a good time. Hosted by my brother Protocol. Shout out to Protocol. Shout out to all my Hoteps out there, man. All of y'all throughout the Hotep diaspora. You feel me? All of y'all. So tell me in the chat, man. For all the people that's in the chat, what's going on? Memphis, what's up? Salute, Memphis. Thank you for coming back through, man. We had a little bit of a hiatus, but we back, man. Monday through Friday, 8 o'clock. Be there. Be square. You feel me? So tell me about y'all day, man. Tell me about y'all weekend in the chat, man. We're gonna have a good conversation. We'll have a good conversation. It's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be a short one. I'm not gonna be on here long. I got a run that I gotta make, and I gotta be there before 11 o'clock. So I think a good 2 hour stream, just us chopping it up, having a good conversation for the next couple hours. I think that's decent. I think that'll be fun. I think that we'll be able to, get things understood, get things done. You dig? But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I'm enjoying the streamer stuff. I really am. I'm learning. Like I said, I'm gonna get the overlay because y'all see I got a new overlay. I want to add, all of the socials and all that other stuff, all up in there and stuff like that, so you guys know where to follow. I've been in contact with the Clippers, the guys who be clipping up the live stream and for Hotep content creators, making sure they tapping into my lives, making sure that they tapping in and making sure they clipping me up and making me look good. What else? Today was just a good day. Started off a little rough. Didn't get as much sleep as I wanted. But I got a lot of work done in the meantime. After I woke up, was able to get my mind right as best as I could, push through. That's what it's all about. Okay, I told y'all before, keep showing up. Don't ever, ever, ever give up. Giving up is not an option. I don't know a single successful person that hasn't failed more than they succeeded. This is what it is. Now, you got some people that come out the gate with the 100 out of 100. Those are blessed people, and shout out to them. But for the rest of us, we gotta fail. We gotta take L's. We gotta learn from our mistakes and stuff like that. So please believe. I remember there was that Michael Jordan commercial. Do y'all remember that Michael Jordan commercial when he was talking about all of the shots that he missed, all of the games that he lost, all of the times he was fouled out and stuff like that? And Michael Jordan is arguably the greatest basketball player that ever walked the face of the earth. You dig what I'm saying? I know a lot of the newer generation love LeBron, but it applies to a LeBron too. And don't LeBron have the title for most points scored in the NBA history or something like that, like 40,000 points or something like that? You don't get to that many points without missing. You don't get to that many points without losing games. You don't get to that many points without losing championships. You have to go through it. Okay? That's a part of the work. You got to scrape your knee, man. You got to scrape your elbow. That is just what it is. You got to bleed a little bit. You got to cry a little bit, man. That's what the whole point of blood, sweat, and tears was for. People say blood, sweat, and tears, don't understand what that means. What makes you produce tears? Shit that makes you sad, shit that makes you mad. What produces sweat? Shit that makes you work. You feel me? What produces blood? Shit that hurts you, man. You got to go through it, man. You can't skip it. You can't skip levels. My nigga Spitter says, what he says, balling without first learning the fundamentals. Forget about it. Trying to 360 up the middle. You ain't even learn to dribble. Come on now. You trying to hit the 360 dunk before you learn how to dribble. You skipping levels. You can't do that. You gotta go through it. You know what I'm saying? What did the homie used to say? You take shortcuts, you get cut short. All of these different things. I'm full of them. I'm full of the phrases. I'm full of all of the old sayings. So let's check the chat. Let's see. Sammy says, bro, I got 2 offers for these cybersecurity GRC interviews I've been doing this last few weeks. God is good. That's what I'm talking about. Sammy. Salute. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we about here. We about achieving, overachieving. We about making it, man. We about success. And that is the reason why I don't like you underachievers. The people who sit here and try to, highlight respectability politics and try to talk bad about people wanting to behave decently. I don't understand you people. So the reason why I have this, now I've been talking like this for a while. Y'all know that. I have done a space. I've done a space about it. And I said, respectability politics aren't real. And I mean that. So my brother King Randall, shout out to King Randall over there for the X Boys school, the X for Boys school out there in Albany, Georgia, doing this thing. An amazing leader, an amazing teacher, doing this thing. Very proud of him. Started at 19 years old, man. from his crib, taking care of these boys. And so he posted this video of his etiquette class, okay? And let's watch the video first before we get to the caption, because I think this is important.
Lower your hand. Put the handle of the fork in your palm. The handle of the fork in your palm. Good. And we're cutting. And pivot. Good job. Good job. Take your time. Chew with your mouth closed, please. Remember. Close the lip and cut. Okay, great job. Now, because you have salad dressing all over your lips, what's your pause position in European style? Upside down V. Fork overlapping the knife. Good. Now you take your napkin, place it on your index finger, and dab.
Tastes good, don't it?
Good job. Now place it back on your lap. I'm so proud of you. Great job. Lower your hand.
All right, so this is a simple etiquette class. Very simple etiquette class. This is very, very normal back in the day when it came to the ancestors. They were big on this type of stuff. And I know when it comes down to the detractors of this video, before I even get to them, I want to shout out these young men. I want to shout out King Randall. I want to shout out the instructor helping these young men, right? Because this is important. These are the type of things that you're going to, be doing when you're sitting down having dinners with family, friends, business colleagues. You may meet over dinner for, $1 million deal, business deals. You may meet over dinner. I know so many people in business who've closed deals over a steak, man, over a meal. I've seen it. I've done it. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important to make sure that you are not being a sloppy pig at the table. That's all it is. It's about making sure that you're eating clean, making sure that you're keeping yourself clean. These are the type of things that just help in polite society. That's all. These are great skills to have. Now, we know that King Randall, he teaches these boys how to change oil. They built the chicken coop. They learn how to clear and secure firearms and shoot them. He's teaching them how to interior, renovate. He's teaching them how to paint. Like, there's so many different life skills that he is teaching these young boys, and I'm extremely proud of him for doing it. You dig what I'm saying? And so King Randall, when he posts this, it went viral, 3.4 million impressions, 106,000 likes, 11,000 retweets, almost 7,000 replies. And he says, every time I post our boys in etiquette class, folks say, why y'all teaching them to eat like white people? Neatness ain't white. If you call it that, you're saying being loud, dirty, and sloppy is black. We're teaching excellence, discipline, and self-respect. Simple and plain. Couldn't have said it better myself. So that always is going to bring the people who have initial. We can close the wiki out. We're not going to the wiki. Where is it? We go to the bookmarks. Where the bookmarks at? So we scroll on up, and this is what somebody had to say about King Randall. So she remixes what he's saying, paraphrasing what he's saying, and she says, quote, every time I post socially performative bullshit to reify white supremacist tropes, people attack me for my role in respectability politics and egregious pandering. I am a narcissistic bootlick and a shill of racism. It's my shtick. And I bet that she felt so cool saying that. Ooh, she stuck it to King Randall. She was able to knock him down a peg, right? Show him exactly who he is. Tell him exactly who he is. Right? That's the whole point. Shout him down, what they say. Heckle him. Jeer him. That's what it's all about. Now, we all know, if you followed the Space interview that I've done with him, with the Spaces interview, incredible interview, make sure you check that out. It will be on the Patreon, patreon.com/Hotep History, patreon.com/Hotep History. I had a great conversation with him. We talked about a plethora of things when it comes to the boys, the progress that the boys have made. This man has built an entire school, okay, more than one location, handling hundreds of boys, a pillar of his community. The parents love him. Everybody adores him. He's a pillar, a literal pillar of the community. Things that I tell y'all all of the time when it came down to the ancestral teachers, they were literal pillars of the community, because after school was over, the students were able to go, because the school was in the community, the students were able to go to the teacher's house. They lived in the neighborhood with the kids, and the teacher was able to do after school work with them, help them study. Imagine your tutor is your actual teacher from class. So you get public school and a homeschool feel, a perfect mix. Right? The teachers were literally up there with the doctors, the lawyers, the preachers, and everybody else, because all of these, the professional class, I talk about it, all of these professionals, one of their main objectives was to make sure that they use their profession for the advancement of their community and their people. That was objective number one. In the same way that King Randall was like, yo, listen, I'm going to use my leadership skills, my teaching skills, and my building skills to be able to help the little boys in my neighborhood, because they need help. And that's exactly what the ancestral teachers were doing in the community. Literally, they were pillars of the community. It wasn't uncommon to have children be like, yo, I was at Mr. Randall's house until 9:30 studying. I was at Mrs. Johnson's house learning. We was all in the living room learning how to study. We was all sitting on the porch, and she was standing in the lawn teaching us even further. So imagine these teachers loved the kids so much that they would work, okay, from 7 to 3 o'clock, 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock, or whatever it is. And then even after school, they're knocking on their doors and being like, hey, can you help us out? Can you play with us? All of this other stuff. And they were happy to do it. High trust society. That's where we come from. We come from a high trust society. We all we had historically. And we knew that, and we understood that. And we're going to treat our people with kindness and respect. Now, this woman, Andy, I don't know if she's built a school. I don't know if she's ever contributed anything to society, but I know that she don't got a school. I know that she don't have a bunch of students being able to better their lives based upon life skills that they're being taught. And this is the problem that I have. So these are a bunch of people who not getting anything done, complaining and trying to shout down people who are actually putting in the work. Booker T. Washington talks about that a lot. Junius G. Groves talked about this when he bought his 80 acres of land, the Potato King. The man was literally, he became the number one potato seller in North America, and that includes Canada and Mexico. And when he bought 80 acres of land, his hating ass neighbor was like, yo, I don't think that land is going to be profitable and all this other stuff. I think you made a bad deal. And so Junius, thinking, taking his words to heart, he kind of second guessed himself. He was like, damn, did I do a bad deal? And so what he did was he went to go see how that neighbor was living, and come to find out that neighbor ain't own no land. He was poor, he was broke, and he was broke in. Why the hell would you give a fuck about the people who don't got no motion telling you how you moving? Rick Sanchez, the great philosopher and scientist Rick Sanchez, says, I don't care about your booze because I've seen what you cheer. I don't care about your booze because I've seen what you cheer. And so this entire argument of white supremacy and respectability politics, I guess because the instructor talked about European style, which is, that's just what it is. Since it's European style, that's obviously uplifting white supremacy. Just having a polite dinner, just being cordial in dinner, making sure that you're not eating sloppily. Now this is reifying white supremacy. So you're telling me having etiquette is a white supremacist trope? Is that the logic you want to go with? That being a decent human being is white supremacy? And this is what I be talking about when it comes to this whole white supremacist shit. When y'all be using particular behaviors that we do that actually are garnering positive results inside of Black America, y'all are saying it's white supremacy. So what you are implying is what Randall said. You're implying that the complete opposite is what black is. That's what you're saying. And there's no way that you're about to tell me that chewing with your mouth open, having a bunch of sauce on your lips, pause, and not being just having proper etiquette at the dinner table is something to be lauded as unapologetically or authentically black. It's absolutely insane and asinine. And to prove my point, ladies and gentlemen, we go to the ancestors. Let's go right to the ancestors. I ain't got no time. So this book, let's close that. This book is called, we can scroll on down so I can help y'all so y'all can find it. I tweet about this book all of the time. Hold on, let me get out of the full screen. This book is called the National Capital Code of Etiquette, written by Black Americans. We can go to the front page. It's totally fine because this is page 24. So we'll go to the front page. Right here. The National Capital Code of Etiquette, combined with Silas X. Floyd's short stories, dedicated to the what? To the colored race. To the colored race. Letting you know. And it's a great book. I read this book front to back. It has just great notes, great things that our people need. This was written in 1920, so 105 years ago. And let's look at the table of contents. Let's see. Full screen. Oh yeah, we was full screening it. So we got how to dress, right? Then we got correct table manners on the street, correct styles for visiting cards, introducing friends or acquaintances, the art of conversation, wedding and wedding anniversaries, social calls, afternoon receptions, balls, dances, parties, okay, at the theater, periods of mourning. They covered everything in this book. They even taught you how to mourn properly. Literally, like, yo, they would say, like, yo, when you're in the state of mourning, you gotta wear black. You gotta mourn with etiquette. This is the standards that we had for ourselves. Now, I will tell you this. This does have class in it. You dig? But when it comes down to overall, if you're going to ask me, I don't think that the ancestors were classless people. I don't think the ancestors are people who prided themselves on being, rude, loud. I don't think that's what our ancestors were on. Were there loud and rude ancestors? For sure. Everybody got those. So yeah, at church, etiquette at church, correct letters, correct letter writing. And they gave you samples, how to behave in the home, general rules, okay, suggested menus. They taught you, what's the best foods to eat, okay, and then it was a correct dress chart for men. So let's go to, what is it? Right here, page 24. Chapter 2, correct table manners. Not less than important. Okay, not less important than propriety in dress is a knowledge of what is and is not permissible at the table. It is a remarkable fact that many well-bred people are extremely deficient in their manners at the table. So even the people who are born of like high class, upper class, and all this other stuff, even they may not know how to properly behave at the table. And that was another thing that the ancestors did. They understood that there are less educated, less refined, less dignified people out there, and they wanted to help them. This wasn't to stare down their nose at people. It was to help them come up. See, instead of what the lady was doing, trying to shit on King Randall and King Randall's attempt in helping these young boys, the ancestor was like, yo, listen, yo, we understand that not too long ago, slavery was a thing. You guys, like, we were not able to read and write. We were, relegated to subhuman. We were relegated to second-class citizenry. We were relegated to the dregs of society. And now that we are moving up, and now that we are integrated amongst each other, because during slavery, I tell y'all all of the time, wealthy Black Americans, free Black Americans existed, and they were completely separate in a lot of ways until it came down to church. Like, church is when the enslaved, this is during slavery, so enslaved Black Americans and free wealthy Black Americans would literally congregate at church. But for the most part, socially and stuff like that, they had to work on the plantation, and these free Black Americans didn't. So they were separate from each other. But the minute they were able to connect, which also denotes the family reunions and all that other stuff. I want y'all to know family reunions are strictly a Black American invention. It comes from with the abolition of slavery and all of these different family members being scattered across the South. You know, they sold your mother to a Mississippi plantation. They sold your father to one in North Carolina. They sold your brother to one in Florida. They sold your sister to one in Mississippi, and you're in Alabama. So now you're sending word. You're sending word from, you know, all of these places like, hey, my sister, my mother, my brother, you're getting all these people together, and then you congregate in one place. And that was the family reunion. And that lasted obviously for hundreds of years. And so we want to be able to continue that. These are the same things. So once the upper class Black Americans and the lower classes, you know, came together, they immediately wanted to help because they understood the conditions that they just came from. Okay, they understood. Yeah, you're going to have some uppity Black people that didn't want anything to do with their lower class counterparts. And hey, man, you see that to this very day. But then you'll also see people who are in the 10 to 1% in America who they really do want to help. You have a bunch of wealthy Black Americans. I talk about Simone Biles all of the time. Simone Biles is a young woman who just celebrated her birthday. So shout out to Biles. Happy birthday. Oh, and she is going to be on the Institution Builders interview. I will be interviewing her. And she has dedicated her work outside of actually working in her field to making sure that she gets as many people into her field as possible, which is GovTech, you know, government tech. Okay. And she's dedicated her life to being able to do that. This woman is rich. She doesn't have to do any of this stuff. She can live off of her own assets, her own income, and never worry about a poorer person at all. But she's dedicated her life's work to be able to get as many people into GovTech because the industry is wide open. Okay, government contracts are not going anywhere. And if anybody's going to be able to, you know, be eligible for these government contracts, okay, she wants it to be her followers, the people that rock with her, mainly Black people. And despite all of that stuff, they give her hell just like they give King Randall hell. So that is what it is. So I say it all to say that the ancestors understood the conditions of Black Americans, and the ones who were in the positions of power, or in the positions of wealth, or in the positions that these people are in that wrote this book, they understood that no matter what, the only way that you're going to be able to do better is if you know better. And the only way that you can know better is if I tell you better. So let me write this book for you. So going back to the text, it says, this is usually the result of lack of early training or carelessness. Nothing will stamp a man or woman so quickly as, quote, ill-bred as improper behavior when eating. To eat gracefully is an art that few of us ever acquire. To commit as few blunders as possible and to avoid unpardonable actions should be our chief ambition. Good bars. There is but one safe way to accomplish the desired result, and that is to be, sorry, it's a small text, and that is to be just as careful when dining at home with one's family as at a dinner or a banquet. It is extremely difficult to overcome in a moment habits that have been formed through months of carelessness at home. Come on now. This sounds exactly like what King Randall is talking about here. One should sit erect at the table with their feet, because the ancestors are telling me what to do. One should sit erect at the table with feet near his chair. The hands should be in one's lap or on level with the table. It is extremely bad form to bend forward over our plate to any great distance or to place the elbows on the table. Now how many times your granny done told you to take your elbows off the table? How many times did your mother and your father tell you to take your elbows off the table? Come on now. A man should partially unfold his napkin and place it over his left knee. A woman unfolds her napkin slightly more and places it in her lap, over her gloves if she wears them. At a public dinner, at the close of the meal, the napkin is left beside the plate. It is not necessary to fold it. However, when dining with friends, it is possible that your stay may be continued for several meals. It is a good plan to observe the host and hostess. If they fold their napkin in anticipation of using same at the next meal, sorry y'all, the text is a little small. It is well to follow suit and imitate their example. So follow the host, okay? Not mad at that. It is scarcely necessary to state that the knife is never, under any circumstances, to be used to convey food to one's mouth. So never use the knife itself like you a goddamn pirate and put it to your mouth. You feel me? You're not Jack Sparrow, bro. Let's see. The old days of sword swallowing feats are over. See? They even made a joke. See? Shout out to the ancestors, dog. We be on the same page. 105 years later. All right. The knife is to be used for cutting alone. When cutting meat, the knife is held firmly in the right hand and thumb and index slightly down on the blade. The fork is held in a similar manner in the left hand. The fork is then transferred to the right hand and is used to convey the food to the mouth. It's similar to what we saw. Is that not what we just saw? Is that not what we just saw in this video? Is that not what the young man was doing? This is so crazy. Is that not what the young man was doing? Check out his form. Why is it not playing? Come on, internet. Don't embarrass me in front of the... Come on now. That's exactly what he was doing, though. All right, whatever. We'll get back to it. Let's get back to the text. Let's see. When not in use, the knife and fork should be placed on the plate. They should also be placed at the conclusion. Oh, so wait. So it says at the end. I'm sorry, y'all. This text is so small. Let me zoom in, dog. I don't want to admit that my eyesight. I need my glass. I might need glasses, man. I got perfect eyesight though. I can see so well. There's certain people out there that gotta wear like bifocals and stuff like that. Like I don't, I got perfect eyes, chat. My eyes are perfect. So let's see. Hold on. Where was we at? I'm over here clouded. See, the fork is okay, when not in use, the knife and fork should be placed on the plate. They should also be so placed at the conclusion of the meal. The fork is the most useful of all table utensils and should be used whenever possible. It is never proper to use a spoon for salads, vegetables, etc. The perfectly set table will also provide forks for all desserts, even to ice cream and sherbets. Now listen, y'all. Okay? I didn't know that we were supposed to eat ice cream with forks. Not doing it. Sorry, ancestors. We gotta draw a line. Come on. Using a fork to eat ice cream? I ain't never seen that in my life. The ancestors. All right. I heard you. If I was at their house, I guess I'm eating ice cream with a fork, son. I don't know. It says that. It said it's never proper to use a spoon for salads, vegetables, etc. The perfectly set table will also provide forks for all desserts. Forks for all desserts, even to ice cream and sherbets. Have y'all ever seen somebody eat ice cream with a fork? I've never seen that before in my life. Anyway, coffees and teas will be served in cups, accompanied by a spoon. The spoon is used. The spoon is used in ascertaining whether or not the beverage is of a temperature which permits immediate drinking and whether it is sufficiently sweetened. Thereafter, one should drink direct from the cup. So they saying don't sip off the spoon. And look, this is the dinner. I wish, can we rotate it? We can't rotate the picture. But this is a perfect table manners, a formal dinner. That's the one thing I do appreciate about this book is that they show you exactly what they're talking about. So boom. Leave a spoon standing in the cup. It is not only bad form. So don't drink with the spoon in the cup. It's bad form. But it may cause a most embarrassing accident. It is desired to emphasize the fact that in eating soup, the spoon should be not drawn across the plate towards the diner, but away from him. Soup, as well as all beverages, should be passed into the mouth from the side and not from the tip of the spoon. So not like this, but like this. You feel me? Breakfast foods, berries, custards, grapefruit, oranges, etc., are of course eaten with a spoon. In fact, so how? Okay, so the fruit is eaten with a spoon, but not the ice cream. I gotta. All right, this is the rules. In fact, anything served with milk or cream. All right, so okay, what are we doing? Are we using forks or are we using spoons? Because you just said that when it comes to all desserts, including sherbets and ice creams. I digress. A bread and butter plate will be found at well-appointed dinner tables at the left of the diner, so on this side. This plate will contain both bread and butter. A small knife will be found beside the plate. The bread is broken and each piece buttered separately as broken. Pickles, olives, radishes, grapes, small fruit, except berries, nuts, etc., are eaten with neither fork nor spoon. Simply use the fingers. Okay, so finger foods are a thing. What else we got? Asparagus is a real proposition to eat properly. It can either be eaten with a fork or it may be taken in the fingers. See, I've never eaten asparagus with maybe, but not like formally. I've never sat down at dinner and eaten an asparagus like this. I've always just used a fork. Still got to do something about that smell, though. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Regarding vegetables, a good rule to follow is, quote, when in doubt, use the fork. You are pretty apt to be correct. Okay. Cake will probably be served to you on a separate plate and may be eaten with a fork. Come on, let's finish the chapter. Fork is provided. Is provided. You have no other alternative but to use your fingers. Okay, hold on. So that's for cakes. Now, I've eaten cake with my hands. I ain't gonna hold you. I've definitely eaten cake with my hands. A special salad fork is usually provided with all salads. If not, an ordinary dessert fork may be used. When arriving at the table, one should watch his hostess for the signal to be seated. The same signal will doubtless be given by host or hostess when leaving. It is not necessary to push your chair back against the table as you leave. Okay, you are at liberty to converse with the guests either on your right or your left, but it is not good form to converse across the table or to anyone at some distance away, except in exceptional cases. So, this is what the ancestors is talking about. In this book, it lays it all out for y'all. It lays it all out. I'm actually going to send this to King Randall because I really do think this will help with the boys. So again, there is when it comes down to these people, sitting there trying to make a point, what is the authentically black way to eat at a table? What is the unapologetically black way to eat at the table? You know? Please tell me. And so this is what I talk about when I say the ancestral black American ethos. This is exactly what I'm talking about, because so many people have gotten away from it because it's been replaced with a bunch of people who are an enemy to black Americans. They want you guys to fail. And because there are a class of people in black America, in America, period, but since I only care about specifically teaching about black American history, for the most part, I'm going to focus on black Americans. You feel me? When it comes down to this class of people, you're going to see the people who coming out from outside of our community clinging to those people to try to say, hey, those are the real blacks, the new Negroes. These are the real ones. They're rebels. They don't want to assimilate. And don't get me wrong, over assimilation, okay, is when you have like the little troops of black conservatives that was debating Amanda Seals. Okay, those dudes have over assimilated. They 100% believe that black people are inferior. See, that's the thing. It's a spectrum. So you either all the way to the left and you think black people are inferior because of, like, you know, just by virtue of, them being black in America, downtrodden. They don't know how to get an ID. They don't know how to do anything. They don't know no better. Everything is bad for them. They can't succeed and all this other stuff. And then when you go all the way to the right, it's like, oh no, they love this shit. They love being degenerates. They love, the black culture is just so backwards and they hate themselves and all of that. And that's the spectrum. So either you're pitiable and you can't fend for yourself, or you you revel in the fact that you are a degenerate, or revel in the fact that you're backward, or revel in the fact, and that's it. And I'm right here. That's what Hotep is right here. No, I am not a pitiable person. And no, I don't inherently look at my people as a bunch of savages. I'm right here. To where, listen, I'm not going to make a mess while I eat food. I am not going to do a bunch of degenerate things and all of that other shit. I'm not. And I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for either ideology, because it's a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of bullshit. They paint black Americans with this broad stroke to try to make their points. And that's the reason why black conservatives keep losing the cultural war as it pertains to black America. I was talking to King Randall about this stuff, because he was saying the same thing. The way he teaches his boys that he makes all of this good behavior cool. He incentivizes this good behavior by rewarding it. He talks about, if my sons want, new sneakers or whatever, they got to do different things to earn stars. And it's a reward system. So after 20 stars, we'll be able to get you a new bat for baseball. We'll be able to get you some new gloves for boxing. It's a bunch of productive stuff. It's not a bunch of mind-numbing stuff, but you have to earn it. And during your earning of it, you'll be praised for good behavior. You're going to be praised for being self-sufficient. You're going to be praised for being self-reliant. You're going to be praised for building something, for creating something, for maintaining and sustaining things. Because he says he also takes stars away when they don't do what they're told. He's going to take stars away if they don't, live up to the standards. He was saying if you go extra hard in baseball practice or boxing practice, I'll give you 2 stars. If you only give me, midway, I'm only give you 1 star. And if you don't show up at all, you're not getting any stars. You might get 1 taken away. He holds his boys, first and foremost his sons, but then also his actual students. He holds them to a standard and make them feel good about it. It's a good thing. It's positive reinforcement, letting them know. And one of the things that he broke down to me, which I found so interesting, because I grew up noticing it, but I never really, conceptualized it this way. He was like, the bad kids get more attention than the good kids. The bad kids, the underachievers, the ones that don't get nothing done, the ones who disrupt the class, the ones who fuck up all of the time, they're incentivized by their peers, the laughs and all this other stuff. But if they were ever to do one thing right, all of the adults are like, oh my God, Jeffrey did it. Oh my God, he was so troublesome. He was so this, he was so that, but he finally did something and he gets all of the praise. And then the kid who's been doing what Jeffrey just did all school year, all year, it's just expected of him. It's just whatever. Who cares? Who cares that Rodney, who's been busting his ass all year, if he gets any praise, but Jeffrey and his badass, he been bad all year. He did one good thing, and now the entire classroom is throwing pizza parties for him. And that's true, yo. I have seen so many kids get, as far as exhibiting bad behavior, get the most attention. The good kids don't get any attention. The kids that sit there with their legs crossed, reading a book in their lap, they leave them alone. They say, they a little, pat on the head or whatever, good job, and that's it. But the one that was bouncing off the walls, breaking stuff, and actually disrupting, oh yeah, he gets all of the attention. No, Jeffrey, sit down. They running after him or her, trying to change their behavior so much. And then once they finally, do something good, now you ready to literally throw a parade for him. But the kid that has been, working his butt off all year, he gets nothing. So King Randall said, no, we flipping that on his ear. All of the good students, we gonna laud y'all. We gonna put y'all on Front Street. We gonna make sure that we highlighting y'all works. Because too many of y'all are getting overlooked. Too many of y'all getting overlooked. And so not in this particular class, but in the general concept that I'm speaking on, if the kid who was, holding this knife and fork like this and stabbing the plate and doing all of the things wrong, he finally does something right. All of the teachers, oh my God, so good. But the kid who's actually like, I know how to do this. I learned this at home. Oh, that's nothing. That's crazy. It's crazy to me. He broke that down. I'm like, damn. Like I remember in the 90s, all of the trouble kids in my elementary school and all of that, because I was one of them, getting all of the attention. Quick little story. Shout out, I don't remember any of my teachers' names except Miss Lynott. Miss Lynott, if you're listening, I appreciate you, beloved. Miss Lynott was my 4th grade teacher. And I was a little bad motherfucker. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't really start being like, I was always a good kid in the general sense, like meaning that I knew better, but because of my father's charm that I got, I was able to get away with a lot. And Miss Lynott, you can call my mother right now and ask her, Miss Lynott, she would hold me down. Because she liked me, because she liked my personality and all of that. She liked the charisma that I had as a 7 or 8 year old, however old I was in 4th grade. I think it was an 8 or whatever. And she used to like run interference for me. Like, yeah, he didn't finish his work, but he did most of it. So I'm just going to count it as passing and all those others. I'm a charmer. What can I say? You know what I'm saying? I'm a charmer. So Miss Lynott, that's the only teacher I remember. I don't remember any other teachers' names. That's my head, not my heart. Shout out to all of the teachers that believed in me. You feel me? Shout out to the teachers that didn't believe in me. You know what I'm saying? I remember one time I got kicked out of school. I got kicked out of a lot of schools, y'all. I went to like 5 different middle schools, maybe 6 different high schools and stuff like that. I got kicked out a lot. I remember I got expelled the first day of school for fighting. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all, yo. I didn't start the fight. I finished it, and it wasn't even my beef. I was defending a kid that was being bullied. You know what I'm saying? Kid named Eddie had fucked up teeth and shit like that. Didn't have the freshest of clothes. It was the first day of school, and they picking on him and shit. So I duffed the bullies out. The bullies went to the office and ratted on me. So that's the thing when you a rat and you don't got a spine and all of that. You gonna go to the principal first, and you get to tell the story and say, oh, Drew was the one who he punched me, da-da-da-da. Like, yo, dog, you was just bullying Eddie. You was just bullying Eddie, bro. Like, I was just holding him down. They weren't trying to hear nothing. And at the time, my principal was a tall black man by the name of Mr. Brown. He used to wear bow ties every day. You feel me? And so, yeah, son, I got expelled first day. Got me up out of there. Boop. Sent me to an alternative school where I'm like 12 years old with a bunch of high school dropouts. Niggas is 17, 18, 19 years old teaching me how to roll blunts in the back of the school bus. I remember we had to read this book called A Child Called It. I don't know if y'all ever read that book. That book traumatized me. I'm 12 years old reading about this little boy being abused by his drunk mama, and his father was a drunk firefighter and all of that stuff. Like, yeah, man. So I was getting kicked out of school all of the time. And so being, understanding how I was getting all of that attention, my teacher literally would run interference for me to my mom. Like, I'm literally getting calls, she's getting calls from the school, and my teacher's like, oh, no, because Miss Lynott wasn't my only teacher in 4th grade. You feel me? So, yeah, like, sometimes, like, you notice that these bad kids are getting a lot more attention than the good ones, and that's messed up because you're not incentivizing good behavior. You're incentivizing bad behavior. And so I want to go over this right here because this is still in the same vein of what I was talking about, right? So this is from 1914, and I was so gung-ho about posting this, I forgot to cite the name of the book. Oh, wait. Oh, good. Somebody asked me in the moment. So this is the book, Out of Bondage, Out of the House of Bondage by Kelly Miller. Shout out to Kelly Miller, another prosperous black American man, very wealthy man for his time. And it's the oath of Afro-American youth. And it says as follows: I will never disgrace upon my race by any unworthy deed or dishonorable act. I will live a clean, decent, and manly life and will ever respect and defend the virtue and honor of womanhood. I will uphold and obey the just laws of my country. Note that he says just laws, not the unjust laws, not the backward laws, not the ones that infringe on my human rights, the common law and natural law, but the just laws of my country and of the community in which I live, and will encourage others to do likewise. I will not allow prejudice, injustice, insult, or outrage to cower my spirit or sour my soul, but will ever preserve the inner freedom of heart and conscience. I will not allow myself to be overcome of evil, but will strive to overcome evil with good. I will endeavor to develop and exert the best powers within me for my own personal improvement, and will strive unceasingly to quicken the sense of racial duty and responsibility. I will, in all these ways, aim to uplift my race so that to everyone bound to it by ties of blood, it shall become a bond of ennoblement and not a byword of reproach. I want that to permeate through the air for a second. You understand? Because this is exactly what the children needed in 1914. Reinforcing these morals. This is the ancestral Black American ethos for the babies. This is for the babies. Everything here is exactly what I'll be pushing in 2025. 111 years later. It's important, yo. If we uphold these things. See, the thing is, when it comes down to these people who try to talk about respectability politics and shit like that, it's like, yo, that shit go out the window to them. You know, the things that the Black American ethos that I talk about, that go out the window when something bad happens. But that's the main time you're supposed to be upholding it. I tell people all the time, when it comes down to your morals, values, ethics, and beliefs, they are only just things you say until it's challenged. So if you're going to stand on your morals, if you're going to stand on something, it's only going to be a testament to you until you're in the face of something that's going to have you become immoral, have you in the face of being, contradictory to the things that you stand on. Straight up and down. You're not loyal until your loyalty is tested and you stand on it. Before then, you just saying that you loyal. You have to be in a position to where being disloyal would be advantageous to you, disadvantageous to them, and you chose not to do it. That's when you can confidently say, I'm a loyal person. I've been in interrogation rooms, and I'm not even trying to make it seem like I was this big cold gangster, because I really wasn't. I was a good kid. I didn't even want to be a gangster. I remember my homie, he told me, because he was talking, because he a street nigga for real. Like he was active. You feel me? And he was talking about street niggas. I'm like, yeah, us street niggas. He was like, hold on, nigga. He's like, you a hood nigga. I'm a street nigga. Like, he made the distinction. It's like, bro, there's certain things that you're not willing to do. Don't make you a coward or nothing like that, but there's certain things that you are just not willing to do. I was. And that's just the truth of the matter. Even when it came down to me, doing the things that I was doing in the street, there was always a limit. There was always a limit. I'm winning a fight. I'm not going to keep brutalizing this nigga. I won the fight. It's over. You feel me? In the pursuit of money, I'm not about to kidnap nobody. I'm not about to do, like, it was mad stuff that I was not willing to do. There are going to be a place that there's a certain place that you just are not willing to take it. And street dudes, they are willing to take it that way. Anyway, but I say that to say, I was in interrogation rooms when I was sitting there running around in the street, and these police officers are literally telling me to give up my friends, and I didn't. I don't know what you're talking about. Kept silent. That's one of the things that I learned young. Just don't say nothing. You don't have to speak. You have the right to remain silent. So it's not until you've actually done something loyal to where you can say, I'm a loyal person. It's not until that loyalty is tested to where you can say, I'm a loyal person. It's not until you can say, I'm a virtuous person, until your virtues are challenged. And what I'm seeing with a lot of these people they don't really be having these morals, ethics, and beliefs that they be espousing, or especially the morals, ethics, and beliefs that they be putting on the other people, particularly white people. And this is, again, going back to my point of these people holding white people to a higher standard than their own. That is inherently viewing yourself as less than. You're inherently subscribing to your own inferiority with or without you knowing. And that's my problem. See, the reason why I'm right here instead of here or here is because I actually hold Black Americans to a high standard. I actually know where we come from. I actually know what their ancestors stood for. I actually know what their ancestors built. I actually know what this whole thing is about. And it was always about forward motion, progress, upliftment, being able to actually build and create and do things that help everybody else in your community. That's what it was always about. It wasn't about none of this bullshit that y'all consider being unapologetically or authentically Black. And the irony of this shit is a lot of this shit actually comes from criminal Europeans. A lot of this shit comes from people who are not Black American. And that be the funny shit. All of this shit that I be trying to tell y'all, like, you think Black Americans who just came off the plantation, built their own towns, about to burn down their own towns in protest of a white person? You think that that's what the ancestors would have done? They just spent, I don't know how many months and years building up this Black town. Black man gets lynched in the town because some white people came through. The KKK came through. You think they about to burn down what they just built over the course of 5 years because a cracker did something racist? Do you think that would make sense to them? I be trying to tell y'all, the ancestors is all about practicality, pragmatism, and common sense. Logic. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And if it don't make sense, we ain't doing it. That's what the ancestors was about. They kept a lot of stuff simple. This is a very simple oath. Everything that he laid out here for the kids is not hard to grasp. And not to mention, this is for a child to read to himself. I remember my man Steph, shout out to my man Steph. He said he's going to print this out and put it on his son's wall. Because these principles, imagine, there's 50 million of us in this country. Let's just say about half of them are children, so 25 million Black American youth, roughly, waking up every morning reading this to themselves. See, the thing is, yo, when it comes down to defense and being able to stand on your square against tyranny, you have to be the one that's not tyrannical. Too many people are trying to fight tyranny with more tyranny. You're not going to win that war. You're not going to win that war. Especially if you're going to sit there and say that, white supremacy is this, great evil and all of that other stuff. Like, dog, like, you're going to lose that battle. All you're going to do is just become what you hate. And then at that point, what's the point? What's the point? If you are standing against this, then what's the point? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm going to defend myself. And if I defend myself way worse than you try to offend me, that's just on you. You chose the wrong nigga. You chose the wrong Black man. You hear me? Because I'm going to do you bad if you try to do me harm. Or anybody, my family, my property. If you try to do me, my family, my property, or my people wrong, I'm going to do you real bad. I'm going to harm you. I'm not even going to hold you. You try to harm me and mine, you're going to hell, brother. Sister, like, you're going to hell. Believe it. So this is very important. So they will call this respectability politics. Having boys say, I defend the virtue and honor of womanhood. Little Black boy saying, I will obey the just laws, not the unjust laws, of my country and of the community in which I live. This is what I'll be talking about. And there's nothing wrong with this. You don't have to be a perfect person. It's not what I'm saying. But you do need to be grounded in your own morals, ethics, values, and beliefs. You do. Without them, you're just a fart in the wind, for real. You're just floating in the wind. And the ancestors left the blueprint. They have the answers. What else do we have here? Oh, so this is from the etiquette book. Okay, this is from the etiquette book, and Oh yeah, that's right. I was supposed to be retweeting this stuff. Do 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 do. So we can retweet this one. This actually got some good traction. So we retweeting this again. That's a part of it too. All right, we'll go back to that in a second. So this is from the etiquette book. Let me retweet this. I'm telling you, yo, my brain consultant, yo, they was hitting me off with a whole bunch of advice. Let's take a pause to check out the chat. Let's see what we got. We already been here an hour. I can't believe it. The time be going so fast. Sammy says, what could anybody possibly have negative to say about learning etiquette? Man, it's insane. Nikki said, great example from the ancestors. Sammy says, I'm trying to get into that side of the cybersecurity. B's coaching on landing government contracts and cybersec is the best way to start working for yourself in this field. So see, look. Bees is doing the Lord's work in 2025. Sammy says, eat more carrots. Sammy also says, I'm grabbing the spoon for the ice cream. Call me Bush Boy or y'all won. Word, Sammy. I'm not eating my Briars, my Ben and Jerry's, my Cold Stone. You feel me? With a fork, son. I'm not doing that. But from this same, shout out to Auntie. Okay, shout out to you. Good evening. But I'm not eating ice cream with a fork. That's out. Shout out to the ancestors, but that's not happening. But they said anything with milk or cream, and like that's like the main ingredients of ice cream. If you don't have milk and cream, you don't have my ice cream. So this is from the same etiquette book. Okay, the caption that I wrote, because this was in the news of that basketball player, the NBA player, who flew shorty out to, I want to say Panama or one of them places, and because she wouldn't sleep with him, he left her in that country, and then she had to find her way, her own way back home and stuff like that. And apparently he flew her private out there, so I know it's pretty difficult for her. I know she wasn't gonna get another private plane back, but I'm pretty sure it was difficult for her to get back. I feel like it was all bad. I feel like he should have let his intent be known before this happened. I'm real big on putting the onus on men when it comes to men and women relationships, because listen, men are leaders. That's just what it is. There's nothing against women and stuff like that, but when it comes to this type of stuff, you're the one that booked the flight. You're the one who sent the invite. You're the one who set all of this up. This is your trip, and you wanted her to accompany you. If you wanted to have sex, you should have made it very, very clear. Establish intent. That's all. And all you had to do was just work it in there. Bring it up. Yo, when we get out there, we're going to have a good time. I'm going to make sure that you feel sexy. I'm going to like all of that. Like, you can have a respectful conversation with this woman. So you don't have to, connive your way or try to finesse your way into some sex. I would never do that. I would never advise anybody to do that. Anyway, I digress. In the chapter of a few general rules, the author says, gentlemen, do not give expensive presents to ladies unless a degree of unusual intimacy exists. Candy and flowers are always proper gifts. Facts. Dog, if you have not established a particular relationship with a woman, you have absolutely no business showering her with a bunch of expensive gifts. And so the thing is, what y'all be thinking is that this is so outdated and antiquated, but people are set up the same way. Society ain't really that different for real. Courting ain't really that different. Relationships, marriage, dating, all of that stuff is not really that different. Men and women are pretty much behaving the same way they've been behaving for hundreds of years. Feel me? That's just how it is. Women like gifts. Most people like gifts. Feel me? Women to this day still will appreciate candy and flowers, especially just on the intro. Like, hey, I found you extremely interesting. Just wanted to give you a token of my appreciation for giving me some of your time. I've been enjoying the time that I've been spending with you, and here's some flowers, here's some candy. nothing expensive, nothing crazy. And then once you grow, grow that relationship, yeah, then the gifts get pricier and pricier because, again, the level of intimacy or the degree of intimacy that you have is becoming less and less usual. This is not the type of intimacy that you have with a home girl or an acquaintance and stuff like that. This is somebody that you are actually actively pursuing, actively courting, and want to, have a fruitful, long-lasting relationship with. That's all it's about. And so, gentlemen, don't hop out the gate being like, hey, yo, in the DMs, I'm going to fly you and all that other stuff. Now, you have the choice to do whatever you want, but then also understand what comes along with that. You start to do these types of things, there are going to be expectations, because in a real relationship, if you fly your long-term girlfriend or your wife out to another country private and she chooses not to have sex with you that night, you're not going to leave her. You're going to cuddle with that woman and watch some TV because you actually like that woman. You actually are enamored with that woman, and you're not looking at her just as a sexual object, because don't get it wrong. I am not anti-objectifying your woman in a respectable way, letting her know that she still is a very fine sexual being. You dig? We are still humans at the end of the day, right? So I'm never going to be one of those people that act like, sex isn't desirable and sex isn't a part of relationships. They 100% are. However, when it comes to a woman that you don't know, of course, you're setting this up to just have sex in a particular setting. You just wanted to be able to say that I had sex. I flew private to go have sex on an island somewhere. Because that's not your lady, and you wouldn't treat your lady like that. So how about just some flowers and candy? You feel me? How about introductory, whatever it will be on scale, right? But you treating her, that's wife and girlfriend treatment. It's really wife treatment, but whatever. I understand, this day and age. You treating her like this, and you leading the way. And she was just simply saying, I don't know them, so I don't know how it happened. But I don't think she disrespected son or talked to him crazy. I wasn't there. But again, you would not have done that to your long-term girlfriend, somebody that you are actually in love with, or your wife. It would be asinine to do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why the ancestors are saying, like, yo, you gotta make sure that you know what you're doing. And they gave these rules just because they understood a lot of y'all may not know what you be doing. They said that. They said this among people of their, of the upper class and all this other stuff. Just because you born upper class don't mean that you have all of these rules and skills, these standards, because your parents could be, people who don't have much etiquette and stuff like that. And I told y'all last night about the difference between the old guard and the newcomers. See, the old guard was making money before the Civil War. The newcomers were making money after the Civil War. So you may have just come into this money. You may have just moved to New York or Montgomery or wherever it is. And you just got your big, your first big crib and all this other stuff. So let us help you. And that's what this was all about. That's all the ancestors was trying to do. Just help one another. So that's another one. So I was telling you guys about the Great Migration, right? Of 1910 to 1970. And during this time, there's a lot of, just being honest, a lot of uneducated Black Americans coming from the South, going up north. High work ethic, high morals, and stuff like that. But there are going to be some cultural differences that are going down up north as opposed to down south. And there are going to be, some of the riffraff is going to be on the way as well. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's populations are perfect. And our ancestors understood that. So, of course, they were like, yo, this is how we rock. This is how we rock up here. This is what we suggest that you do and don't do. So in the newspapers, they had this comic strip called Do's and Don'ts. And it was just, cartoons depicting the do's and don'ts. So I said I initially enjoyed these do's and don'ts cartoons because they made me laugh. I now know that they were made because of the undesirable behaviors exhibited by black Southerners who recently migrated north. That's a fact. It was a way to teach them proper public and private etiquette. Okay? This is black American stuff. You have not seen me mention or show a white person yet. So let's go through these because I love these. I absolutely love these, and I'm glad that I'm able to highlight them. So let's go through them. So this one is do's and don'ts. The mom says, and be a good boy, telling her son. And at the bottom, the moral of the story is, a few kind words can mean so much to him. Encouraging your child before he goes off to school means the absolute difference between a good day and a bad day. Mentally. Once he gets to his school and he, if he has friends and stuff like that, he'll or she'll, be around their friends and being able to, be social and have that dopamine rush based upon their friend group. However, if they are a little antisocial, right? And they don't really have that friend group to be able to boost their morale back up, and you just finish cursing them out in the morning. I remember when I was in Philly, when I lived in Philly, there was this mom who used to walk her sons to school, twin boys, every morning. And she walked down my block, and every morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, cursing these little boys out. Cursing them out. Fuck this, shit that, you better this, you better not that, yanking them up the sidewalk, talking to them like a dog. And I'm like, yo, she doesn't even care that she's demoralizing the hell out of her sons. So you curse your son out, take him to the front of the school, and then you go on, because you're going to go to work, you're going to yuck it up with your coworkers, you're going to go to lunch and have fun, you're going to be an adult and be able to boost your own whatever up, your own morale up, but you done finished cursing these boys out from 15th or 13th Street all the way to 17th Street. Cursing them out all morning, maybe because they was a little slow that morning, making you a little bit late, even though that's your responsibility. And you cursing these kids out for what? And this is what I'm talking about. The ancestral black American ethos. These rules were there for a reason. They had to tell y'all this, tell their counterparts, their contemporaries, this for a reason. The reason why the do's and don'ts exist because the don'ts were being done and the do's weren't being done. And we have to correct ourselves. See, what they call respectability politics was us actually just looking out for ourselves and being like, yo, sis, that's not how you do that. Yo, bro, that's not how you do that. We do it like this over here. And more, again, these people, the new Negroes, right? Offended by everything, ashamed of nothing. Because if I would have stopped her and say, yo, don't talk to your sons like that, sis. You don't got to talk to them like that. She would have been offended by that, but not ashamed that she was doing it. Okay? Offended by everything, ashamed of nothing. This was soft shaming. This was showing you what to do, showing you what not to do in cartoon form. I don't know how somebody could be offended by a cartoon. This is soft shaming, saying that, yo, do this or don't do that. Read the newspaper. Recognize if you did this morning or not. Did you say, and be a good boy, I love you, have a good day at school, I'm proud of you, be a good girl at school, I'm proud of you? Did you do that, or did you tell them, you better fucking act right before I whoop your ass? Your teacher better not fucking call me while I'm at work. Or is that what you said to him? So when you're reading that paper at work, you be like, damn, I didn't say that to him, or I did say that to him. And being able to correct your behavior. That's what this was about. See, people be worrying about, oh, you just only want to, appease white people. You want to impress white people. Nah, yo, I just don't want a bunch of demoralized babies in the streets. Because a bunch of demoralized babies and disassociated and detached babies in the streets is only going to breed criminality. it's only going to breed more degeneracy. Because my mama don't even give a fuck about me. My daddy don't give a fuck about me. Done cursed me out all morning. From the time, and when I say these twin boys, they had to been 5, 6 years old. It was elementary school students. So they couldn't have been older than 11. You feel me? So when it comes down to this stuff, yo, like, people don't understand that the ancestors wasn't worried about white people. They weren't worried about trying to impress or placate white people or white supremacy and all this other nonsense. It was about building community, sustaining and maintaining community. That's what this was about. Let's go to the next one. We're going to go through all of them. Let's see. Do's and don'ts. It's always unpleasant to sit beside a person whose clothing smells like stale cooking. Do hang your clothes in another room, even though you may put them on very shortly. So when you cooking your food and stuff like that, yo, make sure that you put your suit jacket or put your coat or whatever it is in another room to make sure you're not smelling like your kitchen. This is a simple one. It's just making sure that's more of a cosmetic, personal hygiene type of thing. You feel me? Just letting you know that it's better that you don't walk in the office smelling like bacon. Now, I remember a video of either a fellow parent or a student. A fellow parent or a teacher at a school talking about how the kids are coming into class smelling like weed. Smelling like weed. Elementary school. Smelling like weed. Because you couldn't wait to smoke your weed until after you dropped the baby off. You couldn't have waited. You smoking weed in the car with your baby in the car. My name is Hotep Dubes. Never did it. I've never done it. Small children is not happening. Nobody's smoking in the car with a bunch of children in the car. Not happening. Not in my car. In any of the cars that I've ever owned, we're not doing that. Shit, I barely smoke now anyway. But no, we're not doing that. But yo, you got teachers or fellow parents being like, yo, what's going on? Like, why y'all got y'all babies coming in the classroom smelling like weed? You know how crazy that is? That's borderline child abuse. Next slide. Let's see. Do's and don'ts. Black man sitting there sleeping on the job in the stock room. And the caption says, another job lost. Well, this is, black and white right here. This is clear cut. Get your ass up. And I want y'all to know something. They wouldn't have drawn it if it wasn't a reality. Okay? They wouldn't have drawn it if it wasn't a reality. See, people be talking about like, late 19th century and the black codes and stuff like that, like vagrancy laws and idleness and all that other stuff. Black towns didn't allow vagrancy either. You couldn't be a vagrant in a black town in the late 19th century, early 20th century. Every black man had to have a job. Every black man had to have a job, period. The town leaders' wives, it was like, yo, you walk outside in our towns Monday through Friday, you're not going to see a man just walking down the street. You may see an old man who's past working age, rocking in his chair and all that other stuff, chilling, smoking his pipe, smoking a cigarette or something like that. But you're not about to see a bunch of able-bodied young men walking around during work hours Monday through Friday, unless they're on their lunch break and going to get some food. But the streets are bare unless the streets are being worked on. If you did not work, I want to say this is Boley, or maybe Langston, one of them in Oklahoma, you were not allowed to live in this town without a job. First of all, how you paying to be here? Especially as a man. How are you paying to live here? You cannot be a vagrant, bro. You can't be idle at all. Because all idleness does, you're going to get into gambling, drunkenness, and a whole bunch of other stuff. No, you need to get a job, period. That was a black American standard. That wasn't to please white people or to appease white people. This is an all black town. Ain't no white people coming through here. Barely any white people come through here. We might do business with them. They might come through. You feel me? However, when it comes down to the way that the town is being run, it's all black. So who are we trying to impress other than ourselves and each other? If there's no white people around, we still, like, this is what I'm talking about. If I would have seen the ancestors be like, yo, all right, ain't no white people around. Let's fuck around all day. Ain't no white people around. Let's not present ourselves, be presentable. Then it'd be one thing. But that's not what the ancestors were doing. No matter who was watching, no matter who was around, these are the morals, values, ethics, and beliefs that they stood on. Next slide. Here we go. Do's and don'ts. Man drinking. 2 men drinking. Well, 1 man is drinking, but 2 men are there with a little boy watching. And the caption says what? Don't forget, he saw you do it. These are all letting you know when it comes down to the kids, you have to be an example. And there's no excuse for it. You have to be the example. You have to be a good parent. There is no other option. The other option is going to be, aiding and abetting the low quality of life of your children. You have to be a good example. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that you can't have a drink in front of your kids, but I don't think that you should be getting, sucking out the bottle, getting drunk. Nah, I don't think that. I don't think you should be doing that in front of babies. I smoke. I remember when it came to my daughter, I said, yo, my daughter didn't see me smoke until she was 16, 15. You feel me? Like, for what? For what? Don't worry about it. This is grown man activities. This is what adults do. And this is what they choose to do. So no, I didn't do this stuff in front of my kids. So that's the reason why I stand on what I stand on. And that's the reason why as children, my children didn't get into that stuff. Neither one of my daughters got into that as children. See, me, it's not even because I seen my mom or I seen my dad. I was influenced by outside forces, but my mom did the same thing. My father, to this very day, does not curse or drink in front of his mother. He don't even talk back to his mother, my grandma. Etiquette, because that's the way that she raised him. Same thing with my mother's mother. It's the way that they raised him. It wasn't happening. It wasn't no talking back. It wasn't none of that. So that's that one. Let's go to the other tweet. Let's go some more. Got 4 more. Do's and don'ts. Chatter. And it says there's 2 women in here gossiping on the in public, and it says, save the conversation. Others pay this. Oh, this is in a movie theater. Now look at this. Now look, this is from the early 20th century. They're all from different times. I want to say it's anywhere between like the 1930s to the 1940s. Okay, so this is, decades into the Great Migration. Still got 3 decades to go, but decades into the Great Migration, these people are moving up here. Things are mixing. People are having babies with each other and all that stuff. So you got some Southern migrants coming up having babies with Northern ladies, vice versa, right? They're mixing. The communities are always going to be together because, of course, racial covenants and, putting everybody that's black in one area and stuff like that, no matter your economic status, your professional status, and all of that other stuff. So everybody's together, especially in places like public places like movie theaters. So we know Scary Movie has the ultimate parody of this, right? Where Shorty in Scary Movie is like literally yelling in the movie theater. She's bootlegging, eating popcorn, all that other stuff, and then the entire movie theater bands together after the what's the villain, Ghostface, kills her or stabs her in front of everybody, and they think that she's still, fawning for attention or trying to, disrupt the movie theater. And so the entire movie theater starts stabbing her too. And everybody kills, they chip in and to kill her because they were tired of her, loud behavior in the movie theater. Now, of course, that's a parody and an exaggeration of what they were talking about, but that's really no different than this. It's a cartoon. Save the conversations. Save the conversation. Others paid to see the picture. Shut your ass up in the movie theater. And that's crazy that this was made almost 100 years ago, and we still dealing with that right now. You'll have black people say right now, I go to the movie theater in the downtown or in the burbs or wherever it is where it's not a lot of loud niggas at. Just keeping it all the way 100. And I'm not an anti-black nigga, and I'm not going to make any more caveats after that. This is big Hotep over here. Anyway, yeah, they'll rather go to the quieter movie theater. Now, don't get me wrong. There are going to be particular moments in movie theaters where, the crowd goes or claps or whatever it is because of the scene and stuff like that. I know Marvel movies have something like that to where, they saw. I'm not into the Marvel. I'm not into the MCU like that. But I know, like, when they was fighting Thanos, right? And Avengers Assemble was said, the whole fucking theater, erupted in applause. And what I remember when it comes down to these types of movies, they actually space these scenes out to actually allow for applause breaks. Like, they know that the theater is going to go fucking nuts in this scene. So they allow for, like, they're going to have like a good 30, 45 second, just not B-roll, but they're going to prolong the scene without any dialogue so people can hoop and holler and then quiet themselves back down so we can go to the next scene. That's proper. That's proper etiquette. Now, I doubt that there was any movies in the 1930s and 40s that was evoking that out of the audience, but that's proper form, if you dig what I'm saying. So, moving on to the next slide. There we go. Do's and don'ts. Take an interest in him, and he will feel like a pal. See, it wasn't just millennials. I think millennials took it to an extreme. Personally, I think millennials took it to an extreme to when it comes down to being our kids' friends and shit like that. Our Gen X parents, it was definitely do as I say, not as I do. It was very children are supposed to be seen and not heard. All of the stuff that Gen X people would tell us when we was little. And, a lot of millennials grew up resenting that. I didn't, because I really didn't see, the thing is, I was always cool. I was always the fly on the wall. I didn't want to interject. I didn't want to ask any questions. I was going to be able to infer and come up with my own conclusions based upon the conversations that they allowed me to sit in. My uncle and my pops and all that other stuff, they would have these conversations over chess games and, having a little glass of cognac and stuff like that. Talking about the day, talking about money, talking about business, talking about politics, talking about women in relationships, talking about all these different things. And I'm just a fly on the wall. As long as you don't disrupt the room, that's when you caught. That's when you caught. When you tip something over, when you break something, when you disrupt the flow of all of the adults in the room in any way, now it's time for you to go back where the hell you were supposed to be at. But if you just kept your mouth shut and just soaked up the game, you was cool. And I was always good with that. I always knew how to play my role. I knew I was a kid and I needed to stay in a child's place. But I was interested in the conversations. They was betting money on the pool table. They was betting money on chess games. They was, they were talking about business for real. You feel me? They were in sales. Some worked on Wall Street. Some had their own businesses. Others were like, I know my uncle's, one of his best friends was a state trooper in New York. Probably still is. You feel me? So I'm learning a whole bunch of stuff from all different walks of life. A bunch of black men, and I'm learning a lot from them. A bunch of intelligent, well-to-do, financially secure, financially free black men all throughout the 90s, all throughout the early 2000s. Learning a lot. And that's what it's about. Now, when it comes to this, they were just basically saying like, take an interest in your kid though. Have that intimate relationship with your child so that way that child knows he can trust you, she can trust you. So they were giving parenting tips, parenting tips. That's crazy. Parenting tips as well. Next slide. Do's and don'ts. Two men seem to be in a row. And it says, settle your differences in private, not in public. So, you know, this is simple right here. Don't get the scrapping. Sorry, y'all. Don't get the scrapping in the street. Don't get the scrapping in the street. I'm trying to tell you, man. The etiquette is right there. This is what the ancestors wanted, man. They understood that, we have our own problems. See, that was the thing. When it came down to this stuff, the ancestors weren't ashamed of shaming. Again, they weren't the people that were offended by everything and ashamed of nothing. They understood, like, we see y'all fighting in the street. We see y'all cursing out y'all kids. We see y'all not taking an interest in them. We see you drinking in front of your kid. We see you, making a whole bunch of noise in the movie theater. We see all of this stuff. And we want it to stop. Period. We want it to stop. There's absolutely no reason why this behavior should be going on. And if you are going to behave like that, you can't live around here. Excuse me. Next slide. Do's and don'ts. Two black parents and a devil son. Let's see what we got. Correct him when he misbehaves, and he won't grow up to be a big devil. Again, making this simple and plain. I just said, when you treat your kids bad, you are potentially breeding criminals. And I don't care what race you are. That's true for any race. Any demographic, any economic standing. If you demonize your child, they're going to grow up to be demons. That's the reason why calling your babies bad is bad. It's ass backwards. It's ass backwards. Don't do that. Correct the bad behavior. Reinforcing them that they're actually good people. I'm tired of seeing that the solution to this shit is to be immoral. That way it allows you to be impervious to immorality. I don't think that's how that works. You being immoral yourself is not going to help you fight against immorality. It's not. You being a moral person is what's going to be the antithesis or the antidote to that, to the indecency and all of that other stuff. Period. And so that's what they were saying. As you can see, they're big on family, okay? Family etiquette, making sure that you are raising your family properly, making sure you're treating not only are you treating your good son well, you're correcting your bad son's behavior. Not only are you reinforcing, being in your son's life, you're also not drinking heavily in front of him. You see how they're working this? They're like saying, like, not only do you not do the bad behaviors, here's the good behaviors that you do enact. Period. So, let's retweet this as well. It was such a good idea to retweet this while I'm on here. Going back to the etiquette book. This is when I first introduced it. Okay? So let's just go through these slides here. Now, you'll see people being like, oh, what you wear doesn't matter. The racists are going to think you're racist no matter what. Who said anything about racist? I want to look good. I want to be presentable in the street. That's why I put this on. Nobody is sitting here saying that, if you change the way you dress, white people will treat you different, or racist white people will treat you different. Because I ain't going to hold you. We judge people off appearance all of the time. If I came to your house, or if I sat next to you anywhere with holes all in my shirt, smelling crazy, you would 100% treat me different. And that's irrespective of race. Period. So while you can sit here and say white people not going to treat you any different, everybody's going to treat you different if you come through stinking, looking bad, and not being presentable. No matter what race you are. No matter what race you are, people are going to 100% treat you differently when you are coming to present yourself in an unpresentable way. Period. So this picture says Thomas Circle, Thomas statue and background. illustrating conservative street clothes for gentlemen. What did I tell y'all? Didn't I tell you that the black American ancestors were conservative? I'm not talking politically, even though they were staunch Republicans for a long time. I'm not talking politically. I'm talking about morally, ethically, you know what I'm saying? Culturally, conservative. This is literally how black Americans dress. And y'all be sitting there talking about, again, assimilation and all that stuff. Do we not look good in suits? I know I do. I know I look damn good in the suit, and y'all not about to shame me for wearing that shit. Call it European. I don't give a fuck what you call it. I look good in the suit. Don't let me have a hat to match. We going crazy with the suit. I look damn good when we went to the White House. You hear me? Me and Maj was talking about that in his interview. We look good. Tailored suits. You feel me? Looking and feeling good. Smelling good. Tailored suits in the White House. And don't get me wrong. There was dudes in the White House when we was there. They had a whole, there's a wide array of outfits going on in the White House. You had one dude that had a whole bunch of Trump stamps and shit all over his shirt and pants. You had people who came there like they were literally going over their buddy's house. Like, I'm talking about flip-flops, Crocs, t-shirts, shorts. You feel me? Well, not shorts, but sweats. They came through super regular degular. I would never. You feel me? So it's your choice, but at the end of the day, you represent you. Me, if I'm going to a formal event, I'm wearing a suit. Or I'm wearing formal clothes because I want to look good. I want to be presentable to everybody, not just the white people, black people, Asian people, Hispanic people. If we all in a formal setting, I want to make sure that I'm presentable to my audience, period. Period. Next slide. Here we go. 3 little maids illustrating correct styles for the street. I don't see anything wrong. Ladies, y'all let me know if y'all see anything wrong, with this photo. I don't see anything wrong on a personal level. Y'all let me know if this is what, y'all consider, respectability politics or trying to placate to white supremacy. Y'all let me know. I don't think so. I think it's beautiful. I think they all look great. You feel me? A lot of furs here. A lot of, the heels is healing. You feel me? They got the good hats on, keeping warm. I have absolutely no problems with this. No problems with this at all. So let's see. Next. So this is the rotated picture of the table manners. So this is good. Look at this. Perfect table manners, a formal dinner. Look at this. You remember what they said. You don't talk across the table. You talk to the person to your left and your right. And that's exactly what they're doing. As you can see, when it comes to the cups, there's no spoons in the cups. As you can see, this young lady here, you see how she has the knife and the knife and fork. Okay, this young lady here, I want to say that's a spoon. So they're showing exactly what to do and not to do when it comes down to etiquette at the dinner table. Perfect, absolutely perfect. This does not. I don't look at this picture and think of white people. I don't know why y'all, like the haters do or the weirdos do. I see a table full of black people, 6 black people who are enjoying a formal dinner. Now, this is obviously staged, which is fine. It's for the book. But I don't think of white people when I see this book. There's no white people here. And that's what I be trying to tell y'all. Y'all be censoring a bunch of white people in y'all historical narratives. And this book is from over 100 years ago. And nobody's sitting there saying, the book didn't say, well, white people do it, so you should do it. The oath didn't say anything about white people. Nothing that I've showed y'all tonight has anything to do with white people. We talking almost 2 hours. And I want y'all to know that's not something that's hard to do. I know the mainstream narrative has told y'all that, you have to include racism, oppression, aka white people into the black American narratives. And while it's important for you to talk about those things, and I do, I ain't gonna sit here and act like I talk about it all of the time, because we got shit like this that we need to be covering to, inspire, educate, and motivate the babies. But when it's time to talk about that, we can talk about that. But we need to be first and foremost highlighting this type of Black American history, because so much of the other shit, as far as mainstream goes, is not helping Black American behavior at all. It's not helping Black American culture at all, and it's definitely not helping the Black American ethos of today. Definitely not. Next slide. Here we go. When there's love at home, excuse me. The title of it is called "When There's Love at Home," and it says illustrating etiquette in the home. So in this chapter, the author was basically talking about how siblings are supposed to be best friends. And anytime I've ever seen siblings who like literally were best friends with each other, I know that their relationship throughout their childhood was forged in their cribs. Real talk. Like, they understood the importance of rocking with their sibling. I didn't. Me and my sister used to fight like cat and dogs all the time, but when we got along, like gangbusters. Like, that's the homie. You feel me? Now, and it's still to this day, that's my baby. Like, I love my sisters. And I love all, like, my sister on my mother's side and my father's side. I love them all. But I have the closest relationship with my sister on my mother's side. And so me and her have been through hell and high water together. So I love her to life. Like, that's family. That's my sister. So while we did, rough and tumble when we was kids and stuff like that, and as we were growing up, it's just misunderstanding. She's a girl, I'm a boy, and stuff like that. So stuff like that. But at the end of the day, at 35 years old, I love my sister, and I know my sister loves me. Now, if the crib promoted us to actually get along, instead of just yelling at us for making noise or yelling at us for not getting along, and actually showed us like, yo, listen, yo, that's your brother. Yo, that's your sister. Make sure you hold each other down. And like, don't get me wrong, when shit hit the fan, I can always count on my sister and vice versa. You feel me? We done went up. We done went up for each other. You feel me? So I totally understand that. But also understand, son, like, if you're not teaching your babies to actually be kind to one another, outside is important, but inside is even more important, because everything starts in the home. So the way you gonna treat your sister, the way you gonna treat your brothers, how you gonna be treating your classmate, how you gonna be treating your coworker, how you gonna be treating your boss, and all this other stuff. Like, you need to make sure that you are honing these positive relationships with the babies in the crib first and foremost. Next slide. So yeah, we can go into more of this stuff. It's from the book. It says, it is unpardonable and unforgivable in a mother for prudish reasons to avoid taking a daughter who is just entering into womanhood quietly aside at times and explaining to her the mysteries of life, the snares and temptations that await the young girl and woman in the world, and giving the child the benefit of her experience. Oh, mothers, you will live to regret your shyness and embarrassments on these subjects. If your daughter learns of birth and life and sex from your own lips, she will ever after consider such things as sacred and proper. The girl who faces the world in ignorance and learns of these vital secrets through so-called smutty stories and from companions starts with a great handicap. Come on now, are they lying? Ladies, are they lying? When you didn't get the formal education from the crib, and your first foray into sexual education was actually having sex with your first boyfriend, huh? Or hearing about, sex stories or porn or, bastardized ways of learning about sex. Same thing for little boys, but this chapter is talking about boys. Chapter is talking about girls. Okay? She will soon consider such subjects as something unclean and will acquire an entirely incorrect idea of the beauties of life. For far more girls go wrong through ignorance of the manners of the men of, far more girls go wrong through ignorance of the manners of men and the pitfalls that are in her path than through all other causes combined. The mother whose daughter falls through such ignorance is at least indirectly responsible for her downfall. At the very least, it says, likewise, the father should talk to his son through the period of adolescence, warning him against the sins of the flesh, teaching him that he should live as clean a life as he would expect his... Oh, and I guess he was going to say his sister or his mother or something like that. And then it says here, it is the I talked about this on stream before. It is the father's duty, no matter how limited his income, to make provisions for his family in the event of his death. Now, we were just talking about life insurance last night, now didn't we? Life is at best uncertain, and there is no such real tragedy in life as the family which faces the future after the funeral without funds or ability to earn an honest living. Such things drive boys to crime and girls to the street. Life insurance is absolutely essential. In the first present a young husband should hand to his wife is a policy in some good and reliable insurance company. Look at that. Look at that. You feel me? So when you propose, she says yes. Y'all are building this life together. You go to the wedding, you get married, slide the rings on. The first gift that a man should give his wife is, hey, yo, listen, I took the time to go create a life insurance policy on my life. It's a $500,000 policy. It's $1 million policy. Here you go. This is my gift to you as a husband off the rip. Before we share a bill, we're not going to say share a bill, but yeah, before we share a bill as husband and wife, here's a life insurance policy. That in the event of my death, you are $500,000, $1 million, $2 million richer. Off the dribble, that's what the book is saying the father should be doing. A husband and father should be doing. It is likewise the father's duty to see that his wife's allowance is up to the limit of his ability. Because, back then, women worked and stuff like that, but it was more so, the father, the man being the breadwinner. All right. It is her duty to see that the family is well fed and clothed, and nothing else is more certain to produce an unhappy, discontented household as a stingy provider. A man wrote this book, by the way. He should at no time cripple himself to provide either food or apparel beyond his means, and should let nothing interfere with a small savings account. So, all of that keeping up with the Joneses bullshit, this is decades later. That keeping up with the Joneses shit is decades later. This is what we do here. Don't overspend. Live in your means. Don't live beyond your means. Make sure your wife has an allowance so you straight. Pay all of the bills, nigga. Make sure nobody needs to be stressing about money if you in this house. Period. Period. Point blank, period. If there is a man in the house, there should not be a worry of bills. And y'all be telling me about, it's so hard to be an adult in the 21st century. The houses are more expensive than back in the day. Food is more expensive. That's a fact, but that did not stop you from having a family. That ain't stop you from having sex. See, the thing is, I don't be wanting to hear about the economy because y'all niggas still pop Don Julio. I don't want to hear it because y'all niggas are still buying apes every day. I don't want to hear about the economy because you niggas still frivolously spend your bread and don't have any assets. I don't want to hear about the economy because 70% of all Americans don't have $1,000 saved up, but the average American spends about $1,300 in frivolous, non-essential goods. I don't want to hear it. Yes, the economy is fucked up, but you even more fucked up. See, when y'all be talking about how great it was when it came down to the economy during the 40s and 50s and stuff like that, you think these niggas had such expendable income that they spend the way y'all do? Honestly? Y'all niggas is having whole wardrobes changes every year. Y'all don't even wear the same clothes this winter that you wore last winter. Nah, this winter y'all gonna have a whole new closet of drip. And ain't got near dollar saved up, no asset to your name, no nothing. So what are we really talking about? You buying Don Julio to impress a bunch of niggas, a bunch of strangers online, but you don't have an emergency fund. You don't have any income producing assets, but you want to tell me about how hard the economy is. How is the economy so hard, but you still dripping? You still shopping? You still putting your Miami trip on Klarna, nigga? Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to hear it. The ancestors did more with less. They did 10 times more with 100 times less. I don't want to hear it. The economy is fucked up, and it ain't gonna get fixed by you spending frivolously. I can tell you that. It ain't gonna get any better. I already know that the dollar, since what? They said the dollar has lost over 96% of its value. It's a piece of shit. So I tell motherfuckers about Bitcoin. But that didn't stop you from using that worthless ass money to get all of the shit that you wanted. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Quit your habits. Quit your habits. Yeah, do that. If you really believe that the economy is fucked up, quit your habits. And you're going to tell me like, oh, that's what we got to do to cope with the fact that the economy is fucked up. Then, hey, you made your choice. The same thing what happened was fresh off the plantation. The ancestors, some of them took to the drink. Y'all saw Sinners. Y'all saw Delta Slim. That was around. Delta Slim said it. Him and his partner was performing and all that other stuff for the white man. His Delta Slim's man, he wanted to open up a business and all this other stuff. Delta Slim, Sammy asked Delta Slim, well, what you do with your money? He said, I drank it. Pointed to the liquor bottle. Said, I drank it. Delta Slim was an alcoholic. I did the math. He was about 60. That movie takes place in 1932. That means he was born around the time slavery had just ended. Just ended. And he chose to become an alcoholic. Autonomy and agency. It's a fictional character, but it is based upon real things that was going on at that time. That's just what it is, yo. Y'all have to be able to be real with yourselves. You have to. Delta Slim didn't say the white man, even though he watched his friends get kidnapped, get killed, get lynched, all of that other stuff. But he did not blame the white man on his habits. That's what he wanted to do. As a matter of fact, he was motivated by his habits. Son hit him with I got this fresh Irish beer. Cracked that bitch open. Delta Slim perked up. Hold on now. Took a sip of that shit. That's what he was talking about. All Delta Slim wanted, he said he's going to pay him $20, $10 for the night, and all the beer he can drink. That's all Delta Slim wanted. So alcoholics out on the block that I used to live on. There was this troop of alcoholics on my block when I lived in Philly. E and them didn't do shit but drink all day long. That's all they did. They sat on my block and drank alcohol all day. They drank beer until the liquor store opened. And when the liquor store opened, now it's time to get to the vodka. Now it's time to get to and they drank from morning to night. They call themselves having a balance by having a gallon of water. You feel me? A gallon of water to say like, hey, we keeping a balance and all of that. But we wrapping up. So let's finish this out, and then we're gonna get up. I'm gonna get out y'all way. Enjoy the rest of y'all weekend. The mother should take pride in providing the best possible food and clothing for herself and children that her allowance permits. Careful planning and real judgment will permit the expenditure of a small allowance for far more satisfactorily than large amounts carelessly and unnecessarily expended. All girls should be taught to sew both by hand and on the machine. These are the principles that the ancestors stood on, y'all. And I'm here to reinforce these things. I am here to encourage all of you guys to understand that the ancestors knew what the fuck they were talking about. Okay? The things that they are telling us to do in 2025 still holds true. Still holds true. You can call it outdated. You can call it antiquated. Just go ahead and modernize it. Go ahead and modernize it. But you can't deny that all of this stuff is good advice. I appreciate y'all coming. That 2 hours flew past. This was all about respectability politics. I didn't even go into other things. There was a debate that I was going to play, but we can save that for Monday. I thank y'all for coming through. You dig what I'm saying? As I always say, you can't have the future without the present. You can't have the present without the past. And we don't study history to live in the past, but to order our steps in the present so we can positively affect our future. And as always, ladies and gentlemen,